Second thing, there is a non-pulsatile flow. If there is a non-pulsatile flow, we always intend to keep adrenaline or milrinone to have some pulsatility, because otherwise it will lead to the cardiac stunning and the left heart stasis, and then then we might need to vent the heart. So in that case, we always try to maintain some contractility with the help of either adrenaline, milrinone, or even dobutamine. You might not get, it's a good flow also, you may not get the mean pressures of 60 or might be getting less than that. Then in that case, you might have to add some, or patient goes in sepsis, vasodilatory state, and in that case, you might have to add vasopressors rather than inotropes. So again, it's not very uncommon that in spite of putting the patients on VA ECMO, you might struggle with the BP and hemodynamics. But in that case, you have to be judiciously, you have to think about what is the basic problem. Is the vasodilation or patients going in sepsis, that is a problem, then you might have to add into a vasopressors. Or it's just a unloading of heart, cardiac ECMO output is not good, then you might have to increase the ECMO cardiac the ECMO output or ECMO flow. So you have to, or you might have to give some fluids to maintain some cardiac contractility. So there are different things you have to do at that. Another problem you face is hypertension. Especially in the children, you see once you put the patient on ECMO, you might show an hypertensive response, and that can be managed very well with the sedation, nitroglyceride, nitroprusides, hydralgine, esmolol, or enalapril. For an adult cardiac patient, especially of those with an acute coronary syndrome, most of these patients are already on balloon pump. So you always keep the balloon pump and then you put the patients on ECMO. So you never remove the balloon pump when you put the patients on ECMO, especially when there is a acute coronary syndrome. The balloon pump will help to improve the coronary flows and help to give better oxygenated blood to the heart and brain. It maintains the pulsatility and it helps to win off the patient from ECMO faster. And anyway, you require 1 or 2 days more to support the patients in a balloon pump once you come off the ECMO. So it always, especially in acute coronary syndromes, we always try to keep the balloon pump when the patient is on ECMO. What is cardiac stunning? We discussed about is the flat arterial tracing. The pulsatility is lost, the systolic diastolic variation is lost. You have pulse pressure less than 10, and you on echo you get poor LV contractibility, generalized hypokinesia you will see, and most of the time it is a reversible phenomena. Okay, and then it will lead to left heart stasis. Okay, and what you have to do is you have to do left heart decompression. Okay, you have to increase the inotropic supports to have some pulsatility, try to decrease the afterload and try to increase the preload, and thereby you can fill up a heart a bit and then see whether the contractility comes up. Okay, try to reduce afterload, try to give some inotropes, and everything fails. Then what is the last resource that remains is the LV decompression. And when you take a call of LV decompression, when you start seeing a pulmonary edema when the patient is on ECMO. Okay, if you put the patient on VA ECMO and if you start seeing pulmonary edema, if the endotracheal tube stores the frothy fluid, then in that case you have to think that patient requires the LV. How to prevent cardiac stunning is you have to go slow on pump. That's the reason we always say you go slow on pump. You start with 20 ml per kg per minute to start with, and then every 5-10 minutes you keep on increasing 10 ml per kg per minute. Exceptions are always there if the patient you are doing an ACPR when the patient is in cardiac arrest. In that case you may not have to go slowly, but otherwise ideally yes, you should always go step by step. Okay. Try to decrease the flow. If the patient maintains hemodynamics, try to come down a bit so that the heart will have some more blood to pump. That might help to prevent cardiac stunning. Start anodilators like milrinone, atenolone, dobutamine, and see the electrolytes, and you might have to give calcium gluconates. Okay, you have to correct the electrolytes. If there is a left heart stasis, what it will lead to? It will lead to left heart thrombosis. It will lead to pulmonary edema, increased left LV wall tension, and decreased coronary flow. So that will further worsen the cardiac status. You can see there is a thrombus in the LA because of the stasis. And the incidence of cardiac stunning is almost around 6 to 8%. And there are different causes of cardiac stunning. You can have myocardial hypoxia. In that case, you have to increase the FR2 or PEEP from the ventilator, because as I told you, the coronary gets most of the blood from the native circulations. Or then you have to do some alternatives like you have to do VAV ECMO to improve the oxygenation of this, or even the balloon pump will help to improve the oxygenation. So these are the things you can do Hyperkalemia, then you have to correct hyperkalemia. All of you know how to correct hyperkalemia and hypocalcemia. These are different causes that can lead to this. It can be reperfusion injury, then you have to just wait and support it in the general line of management, and if nothing helps, then you have to think of the venting. And if it's an acute increase in after PPH, again you can think of concomitant use of nitric oxide, NTG, sildenafil to reduce the PPH. Left heart stasis management, first is try to improve the coronary oxygen by doing VA, ECMO, or you think of doing an axillary artery cannulation. And second is you have to unload the LV. One of the way of unloading LV is the IVP. You put an IVP, LV will get some way unloaded, but not the best way. Well, that is the you will be able to partially help the heart. If that doesn't help, you have to think of doing an atrial septostomy or LA vent or LV vent, either of these three. Okay.